Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today, I get to share with you this book called Ruby Takes Chicago, written by Diane Floyd Bame. This is the sequel to Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More. This story takes Ruby out of her small hometown in Oklahoma into the great big city of Chicago. At 21 years old, Ruby is ready to strike out on her own. But unfortunately, it's the late 1920s, and people have feelings about what women should be doing at this time in their life. And for most of them, it's not getting their own job. However, Ruby is determined to get her feet under her and have a life of her own before she gets a husband and starts a family. So she gets to Chicago and she struggles at first to find a job. There are some available, but as soon as she gets there, the job's already been taken. Luckily, fate is on her side and she finally lands a job that she feels she can do. From there, she starts stepping up the ladder, and even though not everything is as egalitarian as she would prefer, she does everything she can in order to succeed. This story is based on the life of the author's grandmother, Ruby, and it's a really fascinating read for anyone who's interested in historical fiction, especially around the time of the Roaring Twenties, where societal gender roles are being challenged and where speakeasies abound. So if you're into that kind of history, this is a really fascinating look into it from the perspective of one young girl. Now, there are also some things in here that would be a little bit more challenging to read, especially as Ruby is trying so hard for gender equality, being paid the same as the men that she works with, and running into some obstacles as she's doing that. So that becomes a little bit challenging, especially for modern readers, contemporary readers, even as a lot of the struggles that Ruby is facing are still apparent in society today. So the story itself is written for a young adult audience, but it reads very quickly. So you've got some larger font, lots of white space, and Ruby herself does a lot of inner thinking, and so that makes the plot move forward in a quicker way. So the story takes place over the span of a couple of years while Ruby is in Chicago. There are some time frames in the story that are lengthened, so you have long chapters with 1 month in them, or you have almost an entire year that takes place in the span of a couple of pages. So the pacing does shift based on what Ruby is encountering in that time, which can be slightly jarring a little bit for readers, but it does make Ruby's story read a little bit more quickly, and then you can focus on the moments that really transform her as a person. So if you are interested in historical fiction, especially in the time of the Roaring Twenties in Chicago, this is a fun read, and if it sounds like a great fit for you, I hope you look for it at your favorite bookstore.